Hi, welcome to Key Skill 2. Hope you had a little break after Key Skill 1. We had a little tea and biscuit break here in the studio. If you haven't seen Key Skill 1, this is not going to make too much sense to you, so go back and check that out. In Key Skill 2, we're going to be looking at multiplying and dividing algebraic fractions. There's a completely different technique for multiplying and dividing as for adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting we're going to look at in the next Key Skill, so stick around for that. We're going to start here in question 1. The technique is going to be a little bit similar to what we saw before in Key Skill 1, in terms that if we have a quadratic or even a cubic, we're going to factorize it first before we proceed. So for example, x squared, you can imagine there's a 1 there. X squared plus 1x minus 6. Can just open the double brackets, x and x. It's not a complicated one. We want to multiply for minus 6, so it's going to be a plus and a minus, and add up for 1. So we want the bigger number to have the positive. So I'm going to use here 2 and 3 for 6. And because I want it to be positive, I'm going to put the positive 3 and the negative 2. If I had a negative 1 there, I'd have it the other way around. Let's check. If I multiply plus 3 by minus 2, I'm going to get minus 6. Wait, I'm going to get minus 6. If I take 2 away from 3 or do plus 3 subtract 2, I'm going to get 1, so that's fine. Here there's not too much that can be factored, so I'm just going to copy that here. Now, what you're looking for in terms of cancelling is any top with any bottom. So for example, I can cancel down this bottom with its own top, although in this case it's not possible, or a different top, so they can cancel down together. So now what am I left with? I'm left with 3x squared here, x plus 3 on the bottom, times by. Now a lot of people think that's 0. That's not 0. When you cancel, it's like you put a little tiny 1. So if there's nothing left, it's going to be a 1, not a 0. And here's 6x squared. You remember from 2.1, the beginning of your A-level journey, at the beginning of last year, your rules for indices. So for example, here with the 3 and the 6, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. So I can definitely cancel the 3 and the 6, this top for this bottom. Now with the x squared, this is something really naughty that I always tell my students not to do, and that's to change the numbers as you go along. You see, this was an x5, and I copied it wrong to the next line, so just be super vigilant about that. x5 divided by x2. So for example, if you're doing this, you need to subtract the little number. So you need to do 5 minus 2 and x3. If that's a bit foggy in your memory, you need to go back and check out our scale 2.1 indices, where we talk a lot about this type of example. So when I cancel that down, x2 will go away completely, and x5 will be cancelled down to a 3. So what do I have left? Here I have 1x3, or just x cubed, and on the bottom x plus 3. And here I have 1 on the top, and on the bottom I only have 2 left, because remember we got the 2 from the 3 and the 6. Now I'm going to actually multiply them together. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerators together. That's the top of the fraction, so x cubed times 1 is x cubed, and you multiply the denominators or the bottom of the fractions. In maths, especially when we're dealing with algebraic fractions, generally speaking, we don't multiply out the denominators. You leave it in terms of its factors. So you leave it as brackets. So this example would be left like that. If you wanted to multiply out further, it wouldn't be wrong. You could express it like this, 2x plus 6. But generally speaking, most of the time it's left like that, and that's acceptable. Let's have a look at the second example. We can see we have a really complicated fraction. Now, if you started multiplying this out, are multiplying x squared with x squared and 2x squared with 4x squared, you're going to end up with a massive beast of an equation. You want the equation to get as small as possible before you multiply it out. And we achieve that by looking for our common factors that we're going to cancel down. We've got a couple here of non-monic ones. So that's where in front of the x squared you have a 2 or a 3 or anything other than 1. So I'm going to calculate those, I'm going to factorize those separately first, using the same method as always. Create my little grid on the side, and I do 2 times 12 for 24. And I want to add for 11. So both of these are positive, which definitely makes it a little bit easier. So to multiply for 24, you can have 24 times 1, you could have 12 times 2, or 8 times 3. So I'm just going to write them down for you. 12 times 2 and 8 times 3. You could also have 6 times 4. Now the only one of those that is going to add up for 11, this would be 25, which is wrong, 14, 11, and this would be 10. So the only one that's going to actually work for us is going to be 8 and 3. So you want to copy the first one and the last one and split it into 8 and 3. I probably put the 3 here and the 8 there. I just find it more comfortable, the even numbers together, and both of these are a multiple of 3. Factorize the first pair. So that's going to be, I'm going to take out 2x is my highest common factor. So I'll need an x here. 2x times x is 2x squared plus a 4. So 2x times 4 would be 8x. From these two I can take out a 3, and I'm going to get x plus 4. Can see I've done it correctly because these two are matching. 2x plus 3 from here and here will be my first bracket, and x plus 4. I'm going to repeat the process with my other non-monic. It's a bit of a tricky to factorize down here. So 8 times 3. We just talked about this one. This is 24. We can actually use the same grid that we used up here. We're looking for 14. So we can see we could have got that one because it's 24 by 12 times 2. So 12 times 2 would be 24, but 12 plus 2 would be 14. So I'm going to have x squared plus 12x plus 2x. So 12x and 2x would be 14x plus 3. I'm going to put this little guy on the side. I'm going to factorize the first two here, and then the second two. So from the first two, I can definitely take out 4, if I'm talking about 8 and 12, and an x from the x squared and the x. And so that would need to be 2x here, and that would need to be 3. 4 times 3 would be 12, and the x. Now, from these two, these are co-prime. There's nothing that I can take out from both of them. So the trick here is to put a 1 on the outside, and inside you'll say 1 times 2x is 2x, plus 1 times 3 is 3x. So my two brackets here will become 4x plus 2, oh wait a second, 4x plus 1, and then 2x plus 3. I'm going to feed these into my original equations here. Let's feed these in. So 8x squared plus 8x squared plus 14x. We had the answers we calculated here, and 2x plus 3. Okay, and the other non-monic here. Now we need to factorize these monic ones. So I want multiply for minus 4 and add for 3. So I'm going to use here 4 and 1. So, oh, quick check the signs. Minus 1 times plus 4, plus minus gives me the minus 4. And minus 1 plus 4 will be the 3. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just slide that up for now, so we can still see it. I'm going to have x x, I'm going to have a plus and a minus because I'm multiplying from -5. And I'm going to use 5 and 1. So I want it to be +4, so the bigger number on the plus, the 4. So x squared, so 5 times -1 is -5, and 5 take away 1 is 4. Now we're going to have a cancel first. Any top for any bottom, so you might see some of them before me, but I can see this top can be cancelled with its own bottom here. So that's 1. I can see this top here, maybe I use a bit of a different colour. This top here can be cancelled with this bottom over here. You can see that one. And one more, I feel like I'm playing Snap, you know, I'm matching up the same pairs. So this x minus 1 is going to cancel with this one over here. So over here we just end up with a big fat 1, because if you imagine each time I cancelled I wrote a 1. This would be 1 times 1, 1, over 1 times 1, 1, times by what's left over here, x plus 5, and 4x plus 1. So 1 times x plus 5 is x plus 5, and 1 times 4x plus 1 is 4x plus 1. So that's my final answer. And this video is getting a bit long, but we're going to have a quick look at a divide. So the trick with the divide is, first of all, you want to take the second fraction and flip it upside down. So I'm going to flip the top and the bottom, I'm going to reverse them. And then you can change the divide to plus, just like you would do with your normal fractions. So let's have a little look, first of all, at this one just on its own. I actually really hate having to factorize if you've got a minus x squared. First of all, write it in the correct order. So that's x squared x number. Then the simplest thing is just to take out a minus. So that would give me x squared minus 1x minus 30, and to reverse the signs. So I want to multiply for minus 30, and I want to add for 1. So I'm going to use a plus and a minus, and I want in the end the minus to have the bigger number. So I'm going to use 6 and 5, because I'll multiply for 30 and add for 1 if I get my signs right. So minus 6 plus 5. So that can be added in here. Minus x plus 5, x minus 6. We can definitely factorize the top here by taking out the x as a first step. X 36 minus x squared. I have a little look if any factorization can happen over here. Yeah, again, from these two I can take out an x. So x plus 7. And from these two here, both of these are going to be examples of completing the square. Before we get into completing the square, I just want to write this as a little bit, let's put it in a different color so you can see that's the notes. I just want to write this in a bit more of an easy way. So 36 minus x squared. I'm going to write the x squared first, or the minus x squared in this case, plus 36. And like I said, I hate it when the minus is on the x squared, so I usually just take it out and change the sides inside the bracket. I find that much easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this bracket here to, I'm going to put the minus on the outside, which will end up now on the x, and that's going to change to x squared minus 36. Now the last two can be factorized using the complete the square method. So complete the square is a formula if you have two square numbers. If you have a squared minus b squared, you can use a minus b, that's not very good, b, a plus b. Let's just work on that little b here. So you need to know that 36 is actually 6 squared. So you have to be aware of your square number. So 36 is 6 squared. and also 25 is 5 squared. So I'm going to change these like that. Now we can use the rule inside the brackets. We're going to have here x minus 6, x plus 6. And over here, we're going to have x minus 5 and x plus 5. So that was where we used the completing the square formula. X minus 6, x plus 6 for 36, and minus 5 and plus 5 for 25. Okay, I know this video is getting a bit long, so let's cancel fast. Okay, I can see an x minus 6 and an x minus 6 here. I can see a x plus 5 there. The last little guy hiding is you can cancel an x for an x here. And you see we have a minus divided by minus. That would also, minus divided by minus would be plus, so we can take those out. So what have we got left? We've got left here x plus 6 over 1. And here we've got x minus 5 divided by x plus 7. So we just need to work out x plus 6 times x minus 5. And on the bottom we'll have x plus 7. So just multiply at the top. X squared minus 5x plus 6x minus 30. And on the bottom, x plus 7. And the final step is add together these like terms. So minus 5 plus 6 is plus 1x, or just x minus 30. And on the bottom, x plus 7. Then you are done. So that's how you multiply and divide algebraic fractions. Hang around for the next video where we're going to discuss adding and subtracting them. Bye for now.